We're one of the biggest contractors in the world, and we can pull resources from pretty much up and down the whole East Coast and into the Midwest and over the West Coast.
You are listening to the Dream is Real podcast. This is the place to be if you want to buy, sell, or invest in New York real estate. My name is JD Ambrosio, and I am part of the Dream Select Realty team. As always, we want to bring you professionals that are at the top of their game when it comes to the real estate profession. And there's a lot of moving parts in that profession, of course. And with me today is Mike Hamzah?
Hamzah, yeah.
Mike Hamzah.
You got it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
From Healthy Basement Systems. Mike, welcome.
Thank you.
Glad you're with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start off. Tell us about Healthy Basement Systems.
Healthy Basement Systems, our main office is in Medford, New York. We're a part of Elite Partner System, which just means that there's our headquarters is in Connecticut, Seymour, Connecticut, and there's a Connecticut Basement Systems, there's Atlanta Basement Systems. We are part of a bigger network called Contractor Nation. To not get too much into the rabbit hole, Contractor Nation is above us. We're one of the biggest contractors in the world. And we can pull resources from pretty much up and down the whole East Coast and into the Midwest and over the West Coast. So Healthy Basement Systems, in the last 2 years, under our new ownership by Mark Tannenbaum, has grown leaps and bounds. And we do basements, crawl spaces, groundwater seepage, mold control, and foundation issues in all homes.
All right, so basements, crawl spaces, all the places I was afraid to go into as a kid. You've chosen to spend a lot of time in there.
Yeah.
What got you into the industry?
So I was just looking for a sales job, and this opportunity came across with the real estate response team program. It's new to all our partners under Contractor Nation. It's been going for about 15 to 16 months, I believe. I've been doing it for a little less than a year with Healthy Basement Systems here in Medford. And it's a different type of sale. It's more of a farmer instead of a hunter. It's more of a relational instead of a transactional. And that's why I'm here today. Actually, I met LeVar actually at an appointment, and he had met me. He had mentioned that he's building all of this, which is awesome. And my job as a real estate response team rep is to build as many relationships with realtors as possible, and help prospective buyers or the listing agents help sellers with any issues that they come up with in the basement, crawl space, or foundation issues. Right.
So when it comes to a real estate transaction, obviously there are a lot of parts of the house that are super important. Right. Some are out of sight and out of mind, and I don't know if you would agree, but crawl spaces, basements, sometimes that's the last on someone's mind, but they could be areas that could have some pretty common issues. What are some of the common issues that you see with those areas of the home?
Yeah, so fortunately or unfortunately, I guess depending on where you're coming from, the home inspector is like the first person that happens. They get a home inspection report, and then they would call me. Typically, is how it goes, unless a homeowner wants to get ahead of it and they call me because they know they have an issue. But typically, it's like cracks in a wall, whether water's coming through that crack in the foundation wall or not downstairs in the basement. Maybe a musty, mildewy smell when you walk down the stairs, coming from the crawl space. Maybe they have some, like the relative humidity in the home, like they have a lot of water intrusion issues that make the musty, mildewy smell. Maybe there's just water coming up from where the foundation meets the wall, the floor meets the wall, and it's coming in through the walls or through the floor. And then every time it rains, or specifically heavy rains, anyone that has those types of issues, it doesn't go away, it just gets worse over time. And then the foundation issues is bowing walls, concrete block walls where they're bowing or they're coming in a little bit, things like that. Those are the basic calls that we get after a home inspection report, more or less.
Yeah. So most of the time, the home inspector will find it,
yes,
and then contact you. What about the homeowner, potential homeowner, the investor that's listening right now? Do you recommend that they begin as they're looking at homes? Because let's be honest, a home could be absolutely beautiful, but then you get down into the basement, and it could be in an area that maybe you don't see.
Right.
You've given us a little bit about what to look for, but should they be addressing this before the inspector?
It's definitely recommended. The the statistic says, and most people say that if you don't address those issues that are in the basement or crawl space foundation, you're going to have to lower the listing price at least 10%, say 10 to 15%, but typically around 10 to 12%. So automatically you're losing that power and you're losing that edge, and you're kind of coming from a position of reactionary instead of being proactive with it and getting it done before you want to list the house. You don't want to be in a position where you're giving a credit because of prospective buyer comes in and they get a home inspection report and they say, hey, listen, they found A, B, and C down there. It's either fix it or I want X amount off. We've found that if the homeowner gets it done originally ahead of time, they'll save more money, and they'll be in a position of power. And if one buyer doesn't want it, the next one will, because that the issue is fixed.
Right. Yeah, and that's a good point. You may lose on a deal, but you also may lose on a buyer completely if you wait until it gets until that point. So that's good advice for potential seller, and quite frankly, an investor has to, you're coming in, you're looking to flip the house, and of all the things that you're going to have to take care of, making sure that the basement, the crawl spaces, the foundations, crawl spaces in general. What are some of the issues that you find in there?
Typically, it's the floor joists, the insulation between the floor joists and on the floorboards. That when you're crawling in there and you look up, typically that's the first thing that gets moist and wet. And when that happens, the insulation will start falling down. There's typically a lot of debris down there over time. Not many people have even seen the crawl space, let alone go down there and worry about trying to clean it out. There's whether it be spider webs, and anytime there's moisture that's introduced into the home in a space like the crawl space, like the insulation getting wet, the floor joist starting to get rot a little bit, or get some mold spores and things like that. That introduces insects, and the insects introduce the food chain goes up. What eats insects, or like mice, and then what eats mice, and like snakes, and like things like that. So like on my PowerPoint, when I do these lunch and learns, I'll show that's like those are the steps. Like that's why you want to kind of dry that space out, put a dehumidifier down there if you can, close off any of the vents, and then kind of make that outside area like an inside area, make it a controlled temperature, and keep the relative humidity down to about 55%. So you're not introducing and you're keeping the temperature cool and constant, and that relative humidity is not going up and down, and introducing any moisture into the air, and that affects the wood, and it starts to rot, and then the mold and all those things. So we want a constant temperature down there. So typically it's moisture, insulation, falling, and mold, things like that.
So these are all things that you cover with the real estate response team. Tell us a little bit more about that program.
Yeah, so the real estate response team program, there's about 30 plus of us right now, up and down, all over the country. We have guys in every office in the basement systems network under Contractor Nation. There's a 1, 2, sometimes 3, 4 guys in every office that does real estate response team. And again, it's more of a relational, not transactional. It's more of a farmer, not a hunter. It's doing lunch and learns and presentations. Like last week, I just did.
Who attends those?
So I'll go into the offices. I'll try to speak with the broker or the assistant broker and say, hey, listen, I'll buy you guys some lunch. When's like your weekly or monthly meeting? I'll try to coordinate with the manager of the office or whomever that runs those meetings. And typically, since COVID, it's not a huge presence as it was before with the realtors being in offices. It's typically a once a month thing. So I'll try to coordinate for that once a month thing, once a month meeting, and I'll buy them all lunch, typically, around noon. And then I'll just, do a little PowerPoint presentation or a roundtable discussion like I did last week, with Signature Premier and Coldwell Bank, things like that. So that's why I love doing this, because LeVar seems to be innovative and ahead of everything. So I want to be a part of that. And I want to be, I want to kind of just make sure that they all know what I'm doing. I'll go there and I'll do a 20-minute presentation, and buy them food, and tell them about the real estate response team program. What's different than the regular sale is that it's always free for me to go out there. Excuse me. It's always free for me to go out there. Typically, if you call me, I'll be out there within 24 to 48 hours. I cover all of Long Island. It's not going to be, we have right size solutions. If you tell me, you come down and look at the crack in the wall, I'm going to come down there and go look in the crack in the wall and give you the proposal that same day. And I'll talk to you though. I'll say, hey, listen, if I see something more than the crack in the wall, do you want me to tell you about it? Right. But we'll have that conversation on the side. We don't have to have the conversation in front of the prospective buyer or the seller. I'm not trying to scare anyone. I'm not trying to I'm not going to make a mountain out of a molehill. I'm not going to put a Band-Aid over a bullet wound. But I'm also, I just want to basically go there for why you called me and give you the pricing on that same day so we can move on. There's a pay at close option for sellers, typically.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the pay at close option for sellers is a huge benefit.
You're a homeowner who is looking to expand your home so you have enough space for everything you need in your home? Or do you want to renovate because the interior just doesn't work for your needs anymore? Or are you someone who's looking for a property, but nothing that you've been looking at really fits what you need? Well, my name is Catherine Serrano Sosa. I'm the founder of Rooted Architecture Studio, and I can help you bring those renovations and adjustments to life. At Rooted Architecture Studio, we focus on creating meaningful, inclusive, client-centric designs for homeowners and investors. We walk you through the whole process of design and construction and making sure that you understand what's going on, but take away all the layers so you can sit back and just focus on the deliverables of what we're designing. We make sure that your non-negotiables are integrated and your wants and needs are integrated to the best of our abilities. So if you are looking to do anything that I just discussed, or just have ideas that you might want to talk about what the possibilities may be, give us a call and reach out through social media as well, and we'll be happy to help you. And if you're looking for a new property, make sure to connect with Dream Select Realty. They're the right people to help you find the right property for you and make sure that your needs are integrated. Or if we're renovating, we can all collaborate together to bring that vision to life.
Once you become a preferred agent with us, which is really easy, I just get your phone number and your contact in my phone, and I got my contact information in your phone. You become a preferred agent. I'll mark you down in my phone as PA, preferred agent, and and you'll be able to take advantage of the Fix It to List It program. You can call me, and like I said, within 24 to 48 hours, I'll go there and I'll do either a consultation, which would just be, hey, Mike, listen, I'm worried about the disclosure issues. So can we just do this? Can we just walk around without your tools, leave your tools in the car, and we'll walk around, and maybe I'll point out some things that a home inspector might point out if you have me there before a home inspector goes there. So then you don't have to disclose anything. If you want me to do a full inspection, I'll go there with my tools. I'll measure the walls and the area, the square footage, the lineal feet. I'll take pictures of everything. I'll do a hand sketch, and then later on that day, I will input it into the computer and send you everything digitally. But you'll have everything the latest within 24 hours. Typically, if I see you in the morning, you'll have it that same day.
A lot of what you said there is extremely valuable, not only to the real estate industry, but the buyers and the sellers as well. A primary role of the real estate agent is to always look out for the best interest, of those whom they are representing. So I think it would probably behoove anyone who's working with a real estate professional to find out if they do have any connections or have been, have sat down with someone like yourself to learn about this type of thing, because I think what we're getting at here is you don't want to get too far down into the transaction and then have something be a surprise, right?
Right. Yeah. You want to come with a position of power. And I want to kind of, I know I speak fast, so I want to kind of go back to something that you touched on that you reacted to, which is typically the main reaction of every real estate agent that I come across, is that the pay at close option that's part of my real estate program, real estate response team program, is you're a listing agent. The seller has another home that he's going into, or they're going into, and they're told not to spend any more money. Don't spend. Don't use any of your credit. Until your current home sells. Right. So it's tight. Resources are tight. Times everything's expensive. Times are tight, and that's usually the biggest purchase in your life at that point. Right. So all we would ask for is the down payment for the work. Let's just say they had groundwater seepage and they wanted to put in our water guard and a sump pump, and they said to be able to pump out any groundwater that's been coming up and has been an issue. We would put down the they would put down the deposit, and then we would set up the work the week before closing. And then we would get paid for the balance of the work at the day of closing through the proceeds of the house, just like the real estate agent would. So that's a huge relief for the agent. That's a huge relief for the seller, and it lets us be able to do the work, and everyone have like a peace of mind that the work's being done. It's going to kind of be a domino effect that it's going to benefit everyone in the end, and not be a big stress to come up with a big payment like that at that time.
So how it works is there's the down payment, and then the work The work gets done, and then
the week before the closing.
Okay,
Typically,
great.
yep.
And are there any other requirements that?
That's it. So if you have a closing set up, if you have the closing date set up, we'll do everything possible. Say I come in 3 or 4 weeks before the closing, and you say, hey, Mike, I need to get this done. I want to do this, but can we get this done before the closing? December 29th. And I would say, yeah, we'll come and set up the work anywhere from like the 18th to the 21st or 22nd. We'll try to get that work done the week before closing, so everything's done, and then we'll get paid the balance of that work through the proceeds of the sale of the house after the closing.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
So that's extremely convenient. And
huge,
now, does this happen through only your preferred agents? Is that how that works?
Yes. So that's why, when I try to reach out to as many realtors as possible, is it solely for that? Like if an agent called me the next day and say, hey, Mike, however they got my number, can we do this? Of course they could do it. But that's just something when I go into these presentations saying, hey, listen, it's going to benefit you to put my number in your phone and your number in my phone, so we know each other. So you don't have to call the home office, and you don't have to go call the call center and go around and be put on my schedule. You can call me, and I might even be able to go there that day, depending on my schedule. Okay. All right. So it's a benefit for them. Reciprocal contacts in my world is huge. I do networking. I go to LaTip networking groups on Tuesday nights. I do as many networking things as possible.
Nick Cesarini, Weatherstone Mortgage is proud to partner with Dream Select Realty. We understand in this environment how hard it is to find the right home. You really need the right realtor and the right financial tools to be able to make that dream come true. Please reach out to either Dream Select Realty or Weatherstone Mortgage to start the process of that dream.
Yeah, I think what's really important to professionals in the industry, and even if you're out there and you're looking for somebody to work with, it's not just who they are, it's who they know, right?
Yes.
So, and that's one thing that we absolutely try to do here is form as many strategic partnerships with those who provide high quality services. It's a big reason why we do the podcast here, right? Is to bring those, like I had said, at the outset of the show here, those who are at the top of their game in the profession. Now, you obviously find yourself in tight spaces pretty often. I'm curious because I am not as much a fan of tight spaces. Is that something that you had to get used to?
Yes. In a previous life, I've been like crawling on their houses for like running electrical lines, and doing plumbing and things like that, and the spider webs and the spider crickets and the insects I've had to come to. Not that I love it, trust me, I'm just as mice, rodents. I'm not huge on mice, like the spider webs and the spider crickets. You just kind of suck it up. It's just this is the name of the game. It's dead animals.
I was gonna say, what's the craziest thing that you've found in a crawl space?
I think it's a cat. Yeah,
a cat.
I'm almost 90% sure it's a cat. Yeah, a dead cat. So. Yeah. So, but the homeowner didn't seem to know. I don't think it was their pet. I don't think it was.
You
their
answered my question. Were they looking for Fluffy for a long time? So the mystery's out there.
Luckily, because that might have been a little bit emotional for them if they were.
Well, it might have been some closure. Perhaps.
Yes, right.
Have you ever been called on a job where maybe a basement issue ended up being a lot different than the homeowner expected?
Yeah, I mean, so that's why, like, a big reason why I wanted to come on today too, the foundation purposes. Sometimes they get misled, whether they think, they're told by the home inspector that it's either worse and it's not, or it's not as bad and it is. There's a saying that if you have 5 different, prospective buyers and they have 5 different home inspectors, you're going to get 5 different opinions and totally different inspection reports from the home inspectors. So, that's why a big reason and the big part of this real estate response team program, I guess, and all the sales guys in my office is at Healthy Basement System, is that we can help. We want to let like homeowners know that to not walk away from a home that they love the neighborhood, they love the school, they love the yard, they love the home, they love the neighbors. And then they come across this on a home inspection report. We want to let them know that what the things that we cover on a day in and day out basis with our production crew and that we can do, that we put our stamp on and our warranty on, and we've been around since 1994. that we can help. We don't want you to walk away from a home that you love, but like, you see cracks in the wall and that might be a foundation issue. We want you to know that if we tell you that we can do it, that you'll have the peace of mind and the warranty to back it up, that we, we want you to stay in that home that you love. We don't want you to walk away if we say we can help you.
So you're saying that not every issue that you find is insurmountable. As a matter of fact, probably more times than not, there is a solution to it. And again, a lot of that can be mixed in with the transaction. It's just a matter of having the peace of mind that the issue can be taken care of. What's an example of an issue that you feel like is often blown out of proportion, and what would you say would be the solution to that issue?
Foundation issues typically are a very big scare for a prospective buyer. No one wants to walk into a home thinking that they're, they can fall through the floor, or like the house is shifting so much that, like the foundation is going to, because usually in your mind, if you're not in my industry or any the contractor industries where you hear foundation issues, you're going to immediately think the worst, right? You're going to think that, not knowing the science behind it, I guess, and is you're going to, I would do the same thing too if I wasn't doing what I was doing. Like, you don't want to hear that the wall's bowing and they could just fall in and you could have like an inside garden in your living room. That was what we call it. If your wall would cave in and you have just dirt everywhere inside your house, like an inside garden. So,
and how often do you really hear about that happening in a house
that's stage 4 wall failure? That's extreme. Typically, when we come on our jobs and appointments, they see about stage 1, stage 2, typically, and that's typically we have a couple of different products that we would be able to use with that, whether carbon armor straps or power braces, and those are things that we do day in and day out. And stage 1 or stage 2 wall failure.
Walk me through the stages.
Yeah. So stage 1 is if your wall is bowing, like one. So if I were to put my tape measure up and down this wall, or I don't know what wall we're seeing, but any wall, I would put my tape measure. If it was coming out 1 to 2 inches, we would do power braces or carbon armor straps. Basically, it was just it would go from the where the foundation meets the foundation meets the house meets the foundation, and we would go from that down to the floor and stabilize the wall so it just won't move anymore. And then over time, the power braces over time maybe it'll push the wall back in. But we're not going there to push anything back in, because if you start pushing walls back in, then maybe the door will jam, or maybe the windows will start jamming and things like that. You don't want to start lifting and pushing walls. If that happened over, let's say your house was built in 1962, and then here we are in 2024, and you got like a 1 to 2 inch, your wall's coming in a little bit. If you start pushing things back or going and lifting that, that's when other things will start. The sheetrock will start cracking. So what we would want to do is go there and stabilize it and give you a warranty that it won't get any worse, that we're going to stabilize it right to that point, and then it won't get any worse.
What type of warranty do you offer?
Hi, my name is Tyrone. I'm the owner and trainer here at Fly Fitness. We work with children of all ages, sports-specific training, soccer, basketball, lacrosse, football, you name it, we do it here. We also work with the beginner, the person that has never been in the gym before. We get you from point A, point B, and we take you through the alphabet of training. We also do rehab, ankles, back, knees, shoulders. The older we get, the more fragile we are. So those things that I just mentioned, those are things that we're definitely going to need help with. That's what we specialize in here at Fly Fitness. Come and join us.
It's everything's the life of the structure warranty. So everything is with the carbon armor straps, with the power braces. Everything is a life of the structure warranty, and then it is just you will have the warranty with us that those everything will be properly applied, and like I said, and the situation will not get any worse, and that over time it'll straighten out, get a little bit better.
What about sagging on that? If there's visual sagging on the house, or if even if it's discovered, how do you handle something like that?
So that's a huge thing that we are into now, and that's a big part of our elite partners all across the country. They've been doing that for a long time, and we are doing it as well. It's called piering, helical piers or push piers. It's basically excavating all around the exterior of the home. That's if we needed to. if the foundation head was cracking and the floors were sagging inward inside the house, and the homeowner wanted to, make sure that it wouldn't get any worse, or ideally, lift it, just like an eighth of an inch or half an inch, because we really don't want to. Again, going back to, you don't want to go down there and start lifting the foundation. Then everything's going to start cracking, windows. But you want to go down there and stabilize it. We'll put braces, and then the helical piers or push piers. Basically, we'll excavate all around the foundation, 6-8 feet underneath where the foundation starts and ends. We'll go down further. That we'll put braces in, and then depending on the house and how many walls and what's around it, we would use either the helical piers or the push piers, and literally send them down to solid ground, depending on how far down, where it feels solid ground, where it's not. Where it's going to be able to stabilize the home, and just basically the piers will stabilize all around the foundation, or however many walls you want to do it, and then over time it'll probably straighten out and give the homeowner peace of mind that it's not going to keep sagging or falling down.
So all of these measures, and tell me if I'm misunderstanding, it's very much stopping the progression of the foundational issues, keeping it where it is there, or sealing, if we're talking about seepage and things like that. But it's really about stopping it in its tracks and just making sure that it does not advance versus, like
you want to stabilize it.
Stabilize it. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And then we do all our work from inside at Healthy Basement Systems. We don't do any of the work on the outside, and whether it's waterproofing, whether it's encapsulation, we're doing obviously the piering and things like that. We'd have to do on the outside, but the basics of our day in and day out work with fixing the wall cracks and fixing the bowing walls with the carbon armor and the power braces, and the waterproofing with the sump pump and the water guard, which is our French drain, is all done with the work inside, never outside.
Anything you can advise on that would be almost like preventative action to make sure that you either, one, don't have a problem, or you're able to identify and solve a problem before it becomes a major issue?
Yeah, there's let's stick with waterproofing, which is a little bit easier for most people because most people can see their basement. With the crawl space, it's a little bit different. But as far as waterproofing your house, and if you have any type of groundwater seepage, or maybe you have water coming from your sill plate down, you can make sure that your gutters have those extenders, or make sure your gutters are basically are outside. When your gutter, make sure you have those downspouts pushed away from your home. All right. A lot of people have their downspouts going straight into the ground. Maybe they have it going into a dry well, but maybe they don't know if it's getting to the dry well. Or sometimes the gutters just go straight down, and they have that little cut, which is like maybe 6 inches. You want to put the extender and make sure when you have heavy rains that the gutter is exporting all the water away from the home. All right. So
about how far away from the home would you say?
We like to try to do it at least a good 10 feet.
10 feet?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you have an issue already, we want to put a downspout extension and get it as far away from the home as possible, because we don't want it to rain and then it just literally, the downspouts just bringing the water right back down into the soil around the foundation, and then it's just going to seep in, and then and the water finds a path of least resistance. If there's any cracks in the wall, it depends on what the issue is. Maybe there's a window nearby, maybe there's a window well nearby, and then when it rains, if that downspout for the gutter is releasing the water after it rains right into the soil around the house and the foundation, it's just making the issue worse. So those are small things that you can do. I guess a lot of people have issues when they have basements. They have the staircase that goes to the back of the house before you go into the back door entrance. The little well, the floor well, right before you walk into the house, in the concrete. A lot of the times that gets overflowed and overwhelmed. So make sure that's cleared out. Any type of little drains like that, any type of little dry wells that are around the home, make sure those are cleared out at all times. But the downspouts for the gutters is a quick and easy way. Just make sure that it's releasing, as far away from the house as you can. If you have any water issues downstairs, because it's just making it worse.
Awesome. Well, 3 important areas of the home: foundation, basements, crawl spaces. I could probably ask you 100 more questions, but we're out of time. I thank you so much for joining us today. I think probably the best thing would be to have, whether you're a real estate professional or whether you're a homeowner or investor, is to reach out to you directly. How would somebody do that?
Yeah. So my direct line is 631-848-3051 is my cell phone. So the same number that I give all the realtors. The office number, if you can't reach me for whatever reason, but typically I always answer, I'll call you back. But my home office in Medford is 631-581-0808. And then if you're a realtor or a homeowner looking to list their house, you can call, and they'll probably, at the end of the day, it'll probably come back around to me as well through the call center. But you can call me directly with any questions. And again, it's always free for me to go out there. It's not a waste of my time. I'll probably put you on the schedule within 24 to 48 hours. And worst case scenario, I go out there. There's no issues, and we make the contact and we exchange information, and that's the name of the game for me.
Awesome, Mike. Thanks so much for joining us today. That's Mike from Healthy Basement Systems, and I'm JD Ambrosio. Want to thank you for listening. You're listening to the Dream is Real podcast. If you want to check out the Dream Select Realty team, go to dreamselectrealty.com. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at Dream Select Realty, and on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Dream Select Home. We'll see you next time, and remember, the dream is real.